Qualified, professional, and compassionate doctors talking real solutions to real health problems.
Georgina, a nurse working at Mulago Hospital, was diagnosed with an eye condition called cataract. Well, this is basically a particular disease that affects the lens of the eye. Cataract is one of the most common conditions that results in blindness. In this special story for this week, we are going to discuss conditions that affect the eye that could result in blindness. And I'm glad to host a team of professionals, a team of eye specialists, to tell us more about these conditions. On my immediate right is Dr. DENIS ERIMA, an eye specialist from Rubaga Hospital. You're most welcome to the show, Denis. And right next to Denis is Georgina, a nurse at Mulago Hospital, who is going to share her story of her battles with cataracts and the eye diseases. And on to her right is Dr. SSALI Grace, an eye specialist in children's eye conditions. Those are pediatric ophthalmologists. You're most welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Dr. SSALI and Georgina. So, and I am your host for the evening, Dr. DARIUS OWACHI. So without wasting much time, let us understand what exactly these eye problems are that could result in blindness. We'll start with you, Georgina. Thank you so much for coming on the show. We want to know how it has been for you from the time they told you you have this eye problem. What exactly is it and how has it affected you?
I was first diagnosed with cataract at an early age when I was 35. I had gone to see the doctor because I was having poor vision. I couldn't see very well. When he was examining me, he noticed I had a spot of cataract in my eyes, in both eyes, but he also went ahead and gave me glasses,
okay,
of which my vision improved.
So it's like, was it the cataract causing the poor vision or something?
No, it was now the problem of which I needed glasses, the
problem for
refractive
needing
error.
glasses. Then what happened after?
He told me to have my blood checked for glucose tolerance, of which I said, since I'm a young girl, I don't think I have the diabetes. So I went ahead with my prescription. I bought the glasses and I moved on with life. So the cataracts didn't affect me that time until when I became a bit older. And I found out the vision, even if with the glasses, kept becoming poor.
The glasses couldn't help anymore.
Couldn't help anymore. So I had to see a doctor about it. And I had also developed diabetes. So the doctor had to give me, to check me properly and schedule me for surgery.
For surgery? What did they do in this surgery?
They had to wash my eyes. That is the best way to put it. And they had to put a lens for me to see better.
Most people think this cataract thing starts maybe like when you're old, like you were 60, 70. What happened in her case? Why did she develop it so early?
We see young people with cataracts. We even see babies with cataracts. We see babies born with cataracts. We see young children getting cataracts. We call it juvenile as they grow. Then we see the older people also. But the commonest problem that we see that causes cataracts in the younger ones is diabetes. And in a week, we may operate on school-going children with cataracts, age of 10, 11, 13, and usually they have diabetes, they're insulin injections, and they get blind, then they are brought to us for operation. The babies get the problems when they are not yet born due to infections in the uterus, commonly the rubella one. that you remember the recent immunization, massive immunization that we had.
Yes, and there was lots of fights and protests against it.
And not understanding why we are immunizing, but it will help us a lot with reducing the number of cataracts in the babies.
Okay, so rubella in children, if the mother had rubella when they're pregnant, and that rubella enters the child, it can cause cataracts in children.
It can spoil that lens in the eye and cause the child is born with cataracts.
All right, but then you also mentioned diabetes. Is it such a big problem? Because we see so many, almost everyone is now worried about diabetes.
Yes,
it's coming up.
Really coming up, and we are seeing a lot of people with diabetes and a lot of cataract caused by diabetes. In the younger ones, even in the older ones, they are more prone to getting the cataract.
Rubella infection and diabetes are big causes of cataracts in children. But what exactly does cataract mean? Maybe Dr. ERIMA, you could elaborate, because people are not understanding. What is this cataract thing we're talking about?
Thank you, Darius. Cataract is really an abnormality in the lens of the eye. So inside the eye, we have a structure which is called a lens, which helps to converge light to the spot which allows us to see clearly.
Is it like this lens in these specs?
Well, it does not look like the lens in your specs, but it is clear enough.
It's almost
like
a glass.
It has a shape that looks more like...
you can just say it's like a glass.
It's like a glass. It's oval.
So in cataracts, what exactly is happening?
So for various reasons, some of which we have mentioned, infections or problems with controlling glucose, and even age, as the lens grows, the structure is so specific that when certain things are not aligned properly in there, it starts to lose its clarity. So what tends to happen is, as it's losing its clarity, it becomes either yellowish or brownish or white, depending on which part of the lens is actually affected most. So with time, the structure fails to be transparent as it is supposed to be. And as it becomes opaque, light can no longer pass through, therefore you cannot see clearly. And of course, it can no longer do its function of converging light rays as it's supposed to do.
Okay.
So most of the patients may not be aware, but when they come to us, they tell us, "Tanso kulaba echifu." So the cloudiness we're talking
that cloudiness is the...
that fogginess, the whiteness starting to come into the lens.
So that is a sign of the cataract starting. And is it treatable, Dr. SSALI, this cataract? When should we run to the doctor?
Depending on what you do. If I'm a doctor, I do my surgeries, I need to look through the microscope every day, I may notice it earlier, or I may need treatment much earlier than someone who is in the gardens in the village who just has to dig and maybe see her plate of food. Those usually come to us a bit later because they can still do their normal duties. So if I'm a doctor and I need even teachers, people who do a lot of reading, usually they come to us earlier, and usually we do the cataracts much earlier. But the only treatment is surgery.
Nothing else can work?
Nothing else can work. We've seen traditional people saying they have eye drops. I think we see them on some television saying that they put eye drops on people's eyes and cure these cataracts. But no, the treatment is surgery.
I think I'd also like to add to that there's been a practice before modern surgery came through. The practice used to be that people would go into the eye and poke the lens and displace it such that the whiteness is out of position and falls in the back of the eyes and it's no longer seen, which is called couching. It was a traditional practice, but it allows the person's eye to become clear and they believe that the cataract has been treated, whereas that's not the case.
But is that what they did for GEORGINA?
Well,
No.
In the modern technique, aside from removing, we have to extract that opacified lens out. We have to replace it with a clear lens that allows the person to see clearly.
Okay. So more about eye diseases coming right after the break. We've just cataract is just one of the common eye diseases that can affect people, and if it's not managed early, can result in blindness. This is because that structure in the eye, which is called the lens, is meant to be like a clear glass. So it should be crystal clear, and it allows light inside the eye so that you can see. When that glass starts becoming opaque, starts becoming cloudy, changes color for whichever reason, you might become blind. So there's so many other conditions that can result in blindness. More about that coming right after the break.
You are watching the Doctalk Show.